So I'm not an economist, but I think I have a fundamental, basic understanding of economics. I took some classes in college. I even minored in that in college. So there's a baseline understanding there that I'm going to lean on here for a moment. When a new product emerges into a market and it's a hot commodity and demand skyrockets for that particular item, demand goes up, price goes up. Eventually, though, the supply responds or demand lessens over time and the price comes down. So we have now seen Darian Mensah go to Duke for a reported $4 million a year. That's a guy who has one season of starting experience. He did very well at Tulane this year. He's in the mid-60s completion percentage, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He was good. Duke, though, said, we'll give you $4 million a year for the next 2 years, $8 million total to play quarterback at Duke, a basketball school. Quinn Ewers, reportedly, has gotten an offer to forego the NFL draft, come back to college, hit the portal, and go somewhere for $6 million. For one season. $6 million. Right now, because there is so much, there's a power vacuum of sorts in the college football landscape. You have seen schools like SMU go and fill that void and say, hey, all you need is the right amount of money, and you can't buy a national championship right away, but you can buy relevance and success right away. And it seems like they were able to do that. They went out, ACC runners-up, make the college football playoff. After winning the American last year, their transition was pretty seamless. And they got into the ACC, remember, because they had the money to take $0 in media rights revenue. So the power vacuum that has been filled by a variety of schools and behind-the-scenes players is offering what feels like an obscene amount of money for quarterbacks. Quinn Ewers is not worth $6 million a year. He is a good college quarterback. I would be willing to pay, if I were running an NIL collective and I had, let's say, a budget of the $15 to $20 million, which is the upper end, by the way, of annual payrolls for NIL. Remember, all the reports before the season, none were explicitly confirmed, but the general consensus appears to be that Ohio State's roster this year costs about $20 million in NIL. Would you be better off? This is where Bill Belichick at North Carolina becomes somewhat interesting because he's dealt with a salary cap situation, and the House settlement, of course, gets to add another element to all of this for colleges across the country. But if you had $20 million in NIL, would I spend $6 million on Quinn Ewers? No, I would not. Because if Will Howard cost me 2 to 3, that's a far better investment. Far better investment. And I'm not advocating that schools go out and treat their NIL collectives and the dollars that they do have there as if they're the Oakland A's circa 2003 with Moneyball. I'm not saying they, try to just find the right. No, you got to be able to spend at least a little bit or you're not going to get a necessary return. But this feels to me like the demand, because of the power vacuum, is really, really high. And the idea of a $6 million quarterback in college, that doesn't add up to me. It really does not. With the amount of dollars that are available, I don't see a quarterback like Quinn Ewers being worth $6 million. Would I pay 4? Sure, that's the upper limit. That is the absolute upper limit. This is not a guy who has ever been a Heisman Trophy finalist. That sort of dollar figure for a guy playing quarterback, you should be guaranteeing, you should get a Cam Ward type performance. And I do not believe Quinn Ewers is capable of delivering that. He can be one of the 10 best starting quarterbacks in all of college football, but go ask any Longhorn fan right now if they'd be willing to pony up that much money to keep Quinn Ewers at Texas for another year. I guarantee you, people who have watched this guy for the last several seasons would say, nah, we'd rather go with Arch. We've seen what Quinn Ewers can be. Time to go in a different direction. I'm not here advocating that Quinn Ewers is some bum who is not worthy of being a Power 4 starting quarterback next year. Heck, I hope he comes back. He could make it's interesting. He's a familiar face. This is something that college football is able to do. This is one of the upsides, frankly, of NIL, is you can bring these sort of guys back and have that familiarity for fans. College basketball has been missing that forever. The one and done, not a good thing for college basketball. But college football, you get to know these guys a little bit more. And it makes it more exciting to watch it. But at least that's just where I come from, or one particular angle to look at it. But it feels right now like we're in the early stages of this new era of college football. The demand is skyrocketing because everybody wants to be good. And if they just invest enough money, they feel like they're going to be able to get there. And sometimes they will. But $6 million a year does not sound like the going rate for a quarterback of Quinn Ewers' caliber. That's the sort of high-end figure that if you're trying to allocate your NIL resources effectively to have a national championship caliber, playoff caliber team, you would need to have someone that is having a Jaden Daniels type season, Cam Ward, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. Those are the guys who'd be worth that much. But currently, the general estimate amongst the agent community is, at least from the ones that I've talked to, there are about a handful of guys worth that are getting $3 million or more. But the going rate for a good starting quarterback, a capable starting quarterback, Matt Rule said a while back, it's over $1 million. That is true. It's in the $2 million range right now. 6 per year feels like a dramatic overcorrection and overvaluation. But have we seen NFL teams for a long time give money to quarterbacks that don't deserve it? Yes. So I can look at that and say, I wouldn't want my team to give Quinn Ewers $6 million and say that's the starting quarterback, because if that's a significant drain on the NIL resources, there are players available in the transfer portal or coming out of high school where those funds can be better allocated. Or roster retention, for instance. Illinois, they're on an NIL collective. I was texting Sonny Verma of Locked On Illini about this. He said, yeah, it feels like they're really focused on player retention, keeping guys here, having them forego opportunities to go to the NFL draft to stay at Illinois. They could return a lot of starters next year. Illinois could be a really good team. But bringing in a new guy, which always has some element of risk, and you're going to have a bit of a feeling out phase, or make some adjustments in the early portion of the season. Go look at what Oregon's offense was with Dylan Gabriel in their first 2 games compared to what it was for the next 11 that they have played so far as I'm recording the show. It's different. It's different, and there's an adjustment in there. So I saw that report, and at first I thought, it's probably fake. No, someone has said we think he's worth that much. That feels like the market is ballooning up, and eventually I think there will be a deflation of it. I don't know when. Or maybe I'm wrong, and that's where the market's going to get set to. And I'll look at offers like that the same way I look at the Giants paying Daniel Jones and say, you're not serious. Like this isn't going to work out. Not worth that much. Dak Prescott. That's what Quinn Ewers feels like to me. Dak Prescott. If he were to get that much money, he's good. He's not good. He's not good enough for that much. And guess what? Cowboys are nowhere near a Super Bowl and are not going to be in the near future because they have to pay Dak all that money. So if a place truly has an unlimited amount of NIL, yeah, they could do it. I suppose. But if you're operating with any sort of constraint, I don't think that Ewers is a guy who I'd give $6 million a year to. End of rant. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.